Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In the last few videos, we have looked at how you can set up an IPsec site-to-site tunnel between FortiGate firewalls, Pfsense firewalls, Palo Alto firewalls, and so on. In this one, we are going to see how you can set up IPsec Site-to-Site VPN between FortiGate firewall and the Pfsense firewall. And I have the same instruction on my website. So this is an article where I have all the step-by-step instruction on how to do the same lab. So I would highly recommend you check it out. I'll put the link in the description as well. If you like what you're watching, please like this video and you know what to do. All right, so let's get back into the diagram. So this is a setup that we are going to work on today. So I have a FortiGate firewall at the HQ that has a subnet of 10.100.2.0/24 and the LAN side gateway is .5. Don't worry about why am I using .5 instead of 1 or 254. It's because of the limitation on the AWS side that I cannot use 1 or 2. I'm using FortiGate on the AWS side and I am using 5 as LAN gateway. Another Linux machine at the FortiGate LAN side that has an IP 10.100.2.62. The similar setup on the Pfsense side as well. I have a Pfsense firewall on the branch 1 that has LAN subnet of 10.200.2.0/24. This is on-prem, so I'm just matching the standard, so I kept the .5 here as well. And I have a Windows 11 machine that has 10.200.2.10. The issue that we are facing right now, the Linux machine on the HQ side can talk to the internet just fine, but it cannot talk to the Pfsense LAN side, in this case Windows 11 machine. Same is true on the other side as well. If Windows 11 were to try to talk to the FortiGate LAN side, it cannot reach. So we are going to fix that in this video. So let's check the connectivity first. So this is the Linux host that I have. Let me zoom in a bit. So if I do IP-ADDR, you can see it got an IP 10.100.2.62. And if I try to ping 10.100.2.5, that is the LAN gateway, can reach just fine. And if I try to ping www.google.com, and it is working fine as well. Okay, so there is no issue with the internet. It is all working fine. But if I try to ping 10.200.2.10, I believe, let me take a look. Yeah, .10, and I can't reach. Okay, so we are going to fix that. And the same is true on the other side as well. And this is the Windows 11 machine that I have. So if I go to CMD, and then if I type ipconfig, I get 10.200.2.10. If I try to ping google.com, I can reach just fine. I can also reach my gateway. Of course, that's why I'm able to get out to the internet. And then what I'm going to do a continuous ping here towards the Linux host on the FortiGate side. So 10.100.2.62, I believe, right? Yeah, 62-T. I'll let this ping continue and we'll take a look after we set up the IPsec tunnel. All right, so let's get back into the FortiGate firewall. We're going to take a look at the network interfaces. Unlike on-prem devices, you only see the two interfaces. It's because I'm on the AWS side. I'm just using two ENIs, two interfaces basically. So don't trust too much about it. Since it's AWS, you won't see the public IP directly on my WAN side. So this is fine. And you can see the LAN interfaces as well. And I have ping enabled. And one thing to note here, I'm accessing this firewall using the public internet. So if you look at the allowed access, you could see ping, HTTPS, SSH, and HTTP allowed, which is towards my public IP, so nobody on the internet can access it, just me. So it's fine. I'm using 443 to access this firewall. Before we create the tunnel, let's take a look at the Pfsense side as well. So this is a Pfsense firewall. You also don't see the public IP on WAN interface. I'm doing the NATing here. This is totally fine. This is our LAN subnet. Okay, so let's see how we can set up the VPN tunnel. There are three configurations that we have to do on the FortiGate side in order for the tunnel to work. First thing is, of course, you have to build the tunnel. After the tunnel is built, you need to tell the machines on the LAN side to take the IPsec tunnel to get out. So if you don't do that, it will take the default route to go out to the internet. So you need to divert that particular traffic and say, hey, you need to take the IPsec path. We need to create a route, which is the second step. And after that, you have to create a policy for the same. If you don't create a policy, the FortiGate will not even instantiate that particular tunnel. I will be creating two policies. So if you are only initiating traffic towards the branch side, you only need one policy and the return traffic will be allowed by default with the state entry. If you are expecting traffic from branch side to the HQ, you would also have to create two policies. So I'm going to do both of them. So let me go back to the FortiGate. So go to VPN tunnels. Custom IPsec tunnel. All right, so these are the options, right? In production networks, you will have the admin access either on the management interface or LAN side interface, right? Not on the WAN side. In my case, it's on the WAN side. When I select the WAN interface, it is complaining that administrative access on the port 1 will no longer be available because IK, TCP and HTTPS are configured to use the same port. So if I choose this, I will lose access. So I don't want to do that. So what I would do, I go back to, let me zoom in a bit as well so that you could see clearly. If I go back to the system settings, I'll change the default administrative ports from 443 to 8443 so that I can access it again. So apply. So if I apply it, I will lose access because I'm on the 443 session. So let me rebuild connection again. All right, visit the website, continue. Okay, let me log in again. I'm back to the FortiGate firewall now. Let's look into the VPN tunnels and let's start the configuration. Custom IPsec tunnel, and what are you going to name? Tunnel to branch 1. I hope this would work here. No, it doesn't. So I just have to use this BR1. Okay, that works. In IPsec tunnel, there are two configurations. One is the phase 1 and the second one is a phase 2. So the phase 1 is a tunnel establishment on the public IP, and once phase 1 is established, and then you have to create another tunnel on top of it, which is called phase 2. That's where actual traffic flows. Let's look at the phase 1 first. It's asking me the IP version should be IPv4. Remote gateway. If you're using a dynamic DYNE DNS, which we talked about in the past, you could choose this option and then put the DYNE DNS if you have any. I don't have that, so I'm going to choose a static IP address. I have to enter the Pfsense public IP, put that in here. And the interface that I'm going to choose is a WAN interface. This is the only interface that I have that connected to the internet from the WAN side. If you have multiple ISPs, you have to make sure that you're selecting the right one. And the local gateway, I always choose this primary IP. So sometimes your WAN gateway might have multiple public IPs. So if you have primary IP, you can choose this. If you have a secondary IP, you can choose that one. Or if you have a third one, you can choose specify option and put that public IP in there. So I choose the primary IP. So this will ensure that traffic is getting initiated from that particular IP. This is fine. You don't have to touch this. And the NAT traversal, if you have connected the FortiGate firewall, both the sites, the remote end and the FortiGate firewall directly on the internet with the public IP configured on both the sites, you can disable this NAT traversal. So in my case, both the sites are behind the NAT, so I don't have a public IP directly configured on the FortiGate, neither on the Pfsense side. So I'll just choose NAT traversal option. So when you do that, the tunnel would get established on the port 4500. You don't have to do any of this. Just leave this default. You don't have to touch anything in the advanced config either. And the pre-shared key, I'm gonna put some complex pre-shared key, which is a common method. Don't use the signature. So I'm just gonna use some complex pre-shared key that I have. And the IKE version, you should keep it as version 2. Now we are going to do encryption and authentication. So we're gonna delete all this and then just keep one. So in the encryption, I'm gonna choose AES-256, and for the authentication, I'm gonna choose SHA-256, which is good enough. Okay, and Diffie-Hellman groups, I'm gonna choose 14 here. All right, so we are done with the phase 1. Now let's move on to phase 2 as well. So click on create new under phase 2 selectors. I'll name it phase 2 branch 1. Tunnel mode is fine, IPv4. The local address, this is important, 10.100.2.0/24, and the remote address is 10.200.2.0/24. Looks good. And in the advanced option, you need to choose the encryption and authentication. In this, I'll remove everything and then just keep AES-256 and SHA-256 here, like we did in the phase 1. And then I choose Diffie-Hellman group as 14 and select the rest. One more thing you have to keep in mind, auto negotiate and auto keep alive. So if you want to keep the tunnel active, even if there is no traffic, you can check this option to keep it active. If you uncheck this option when there is no traffic, the tunnel will go down. I'll keep this enable and I'll click on OK. So we have done everything up to this point. So if you have to create multiple subnet, you can click on create new and then add second phase 2 parameters here. So that way you can add multiple parameters. We'll create a separate video explaining the same. Now it's OK. Click on OK here. The tunnel right now is down, so you have to create a policy and routes. So let's go ahead and create a route. Network, static routes. You might be wondering how come I don't have any default route. It's because the WAN interface is a DHCP, so the WAN interface has a default gateway in it, right? So if I look at the interfaces and the WAN interface, if I double click on it, you would see that there is a default gateway for it. So that's the reason you don't see the default route, which is fine. So I'll add a route which says if you want to talk to 10.200.2.0/24, you take the IPsec tunnel. Okay, and you have an advanced option as well, which you can use it when you have multiple tunnels. We don't need this at the moment, so I'll click on OK here. So we have created the route now. Now let's go ahead and create a firewall policy. So click on firewall policy, and I have only two policies at the moment. One is to access the AWS instance using the public IP. That's how I access the SSH into the instance. And then you have internet access. You could see some hits on it. That way the Linux host can go out to the internet. Click on create new, and I'll name it something like hello HQ LAN to branch 1 LAN. You can schedule this if you want. If you want the tunnel to be active during the business hours, you could choose that and then put the schedule in here. We don't need this at the moment. Action should be accept. Incoming interface should be the LAN interface. Outgoing interface would be the IPsec tunnel, because we are going to whitelist the traffic towards the branch 1. And the source is going to be, let me see if I have the LAN side subnet port 2 address I have. So let me add that, and the destination is gonna be 200 may not be there, so I have to create that. So click on plus icon, address, and then I'll name it branch 1 subnet 10.200.2.0/24. I'm just adding this here so that it's easy for me to identify the address subject. So add that in here as well. Click on OK. Would you like to select this new entry? Of course, OK. And then service. So if you are on a production network, you might have a request to allow only specific services, for example RDP, SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, and so on. In our case, it's a lab. I'm going to allow everything. So in production, you shouldn't do this all, and then you need to uncheck this NAT, because we are not going to translate anything. We are just going to talk as it is. So 10.100.2.0 to 10.200.2.0, that's it. And you don't have to have any security profiles. Fine. I'm logging all the sessions so that I can see all the traffic that is passing through the firewall. Click on OK. Now this would take care of all the traffic that is going out. When the traffic goes out to the Pfsense firewall, and if you have the Pfsense firewall also policy configured, the return traffic on the FortiGate will be allowed. Sometimes the branch 1 may initiate the traffic. You want to allow that, then you can create a policy for it. So I'll be creating two policies, one towards the outbound, which I've already done, and one towards the inbound. So let me click on create new. Hello branch 1 to HQ LAN. Okay. Incoming interface will be, this time it's going to be the IPsec tunnel. Outgoing interface will be the LAN, and the source is going to be the 10.200. Okay, this is a branch 1 subnet, and the destination is going to be 10.100. Okay, and the service is going to be all, and no NAT, and then all sessions, and click on OK. Make sure the enable this policy is checked. So we have everything completed on the FortiGate side. Let's now move on to the Pfsense. Click on VPN, IPsec, and click on add P1 tunnel to HQ. The key exchange version is IKV2. This is what we have chosen on the remote side as well. IPv4 interface is going to be a WAN interface, and the remote gateway. So let me get the remote gateway IP address, which is a FortiGate WAN IP address. Paste that in here. And the mutual PSK. So no certificate. PSK is nothing but pre-shared key, so we are choosing that, and leave these to default, and let me paste the pre-shared key that I have. Alright, that's done. And encryption algorithm, I'm gonna choose AS256, that's what we selected, and SHA-256, and DH group is 14, and there is a NAT traversal also, and that I set to auto. Then that's it. I'll click on save here, apply changes. The phase 1 is complete. Now let's do the phase 2. So expand the phase 2 and click on add P2 branch on LAN side, tunnel IPv4, and the local network is going to be the LAN subnet, so it's fine. Leave it as default, no NAT required here. Remote network is you have to choose network, and then you have to type the remote branch networks, which is 10.100.2.0/24, and the protocol is ESP, and the encryption algorithm is going to be AES256. you don't have to choose multiple options. So let me uncheck this one, and the hash algorithm is SHA-256 and PFS key group is 14. This is fine. Everything looks good. Click on save, apply changes. So we have done the configuration, and in this one you don't have to do the routing. You just have to create a policy. What we will do now, we'll go to firewall and then rules, and you will see an IPsec tab in here. Click on that, and I'm going to create a new rule. This is for the inbound traffic, the traffic that is coming from the HQ to the branch 1. Interface is fine. This should be any. Source is going to be network, and it's going to be 10.100.2.0/24, and the destination is going to be LAN address, log packets that are handled by this rule, and click on save. And we'll create another policy which is outbound. So pass IPsec IPv4. This is going to be any. Source is going to be LAN side, and then the destination is going to be network, and then it's going to be 10.100.2.0/24. Log packets that are handled by this rule. Click on save, apply changes. That's it. We have completed the IPsec configuration. Let's get back into the FortiGate firewall. Let's do the test now. So if you want to check the VPN status, you could go to VPN or VPN tunnels, and you can see that the tunnel is showing up, which is a good sign. So here it's not showing the phase 1 and phase 2 status. To see that, you can go to dashboard status, and then there is an IPsec tunnel here. So click on that, and you can see that the tunnel is showing up. And here is a phase 1 status, right, and then phase 2 selectors, it's showing up as well. So if I go back to the Pfsense, you can go to status here and then IPsec. You could see it's established right now, and to see the phase 2 status, you can expand this, and it's showing it's installed as well. We have initiated some traffic right from the Windows 11 machine as well as from the Linux side. So let's see what happens over there. Before we never had a connectivity, right? So let's check that. If I go back, I see it's still not working. Now how about the Windows 11 machine? So if you look at the Windows machine, you see that it's responding fine. Great, but nothing on this side. Let me stop and start again. 10.200.2.10, right? So maybe ICMP is not enabled. So, and if I try to ping 10.200.2.5 FortiGate LAN gateway, it's responding fine, which is perfect. And if I want to see the logs, you can go to FortiGate logs and reports, forward traffic, and you could see the traffic that is going through. And the one which I'm looking for is this one, filtered by this policy. You could see there is a traffic initiated from the 10.200.2.10 towards this side. So if I go back to the Pfsense, the traffic logs can be checked from going into the status, system logs, and then firewall. What I'm looking for is the source is going to be 10.100.2.c2, right? And you can see there is an ICMP traffic that is going towards 10.200.2.10. This one, this is denied, and then we created the rule, and it is now working fine. All right, that's it in this video. I hope you loved it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.